Today I will show you a true story film from 2013 titled Lone Survivor. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. To become a Navy SEAL, people have to endure 5.5 days of cold, wet and brutally difficult operational training with as low as 4 hours of sleep. It is considered to be the toughest training in the US military, and only 25% make it through. These 25% realize they can do so much more than they ever imagined. A bleeding man is brought to the military base by a helicopter. He is badly wounded, and attempts to revive him in the medical tent seem useless. 3 days earlier, at the first ray of light, Danny races his team leader Mike around their base. On the final stretch of the race, Mike comes out on top and Marcus says he won by a second. Matt joins them and inquires who won and then suggests a penalty for the loser. The group unanimously decides to give Danny a head shave. Mike's squad is notified that they have a mission and to come to the meeting to be briefed. The goal of their mission is to capture and kill Ahmad Shah. He is a senior Taliban commander responsible for killing Marines in eastern Afghanistan, as well as villagers and refugees who aided American forces. He is their primary target. Ahmad can be identified by the fact that he has no earlobes. Captain explains the plan and that they will have quick response forces on standby, but they have to be careful since communications may be difficult in the area. Mike's 4-man squad will be in charge of the mission. Chinook and Apache helicopters arrive on time to pick up the troops. They are deployed to the region under cover of night and have to walk for about 4 hours to reach the village where Ahmad is supposed to be. As the team treks across the mountains, they communicate their position to the base every hour. Communications become more and more jammed as they get closer to Ahmad's village. At their last checkpoint, the comms are completely down, yet somehow they still manage to relay the information that they are in position. They find a place to dig in and take a look at the village. While there, they discover Ahmad, whom they recognize by the fact that he has no earlobes. Unfortunately, there are many more enemy troops than in the information they've been provided. Mike asks Marcus if he can take the shot, but he doesn't want to risk it. The team retreats to take a quick nap, leaving Danny to keep watch. A short time later, Danny hears a goat herd near them and the group wakes up. The goats are led by 3 herdsmen. The group hopes to stay unnoticed. Unfortunately, one of the herders trips over Marcus' foot, and the group quickly captures the 3 and ties them up. Danny tries to contact the base, but due to poor signal he receives no response. The herdsmen are part of the Taliban. Mike calls the base on an unsecured line and asks to speak to the commander, but just as he is about to pick up the phone, the connection breaks. Realistically, they have 3 options. Let them go and they will be found in an hour, tie them up and they will be eaten by wild animals or freeze to death, or eliminate them. Marcus says they will get a major backlash if they kill the 3 herders. Matt still thinks they need to kill them since their mission is to eliminate Ahmad, but Mike steps in with the final decision to abort the mission. They are to release the herdsmen, make it to the peak of the mountain, and Danny will call the base for extract. The team releases the herders and heads up the mountain, with Marcus still watching behind, unsure if they made the right decision and how quickly the information will be passed on to the Taliban forces. One of the boys makes his way down to the village as quickly as possible. Once at the top, they realize it is a faulty summit. Danny tries to contact the base, but to no avail. Matt keeps muttering that this is a bad spot to be in. They decide to descend to the tree line and wait for sunset, then continue on foot. Since Mike's team has missed 3 communication windows with the base, the commander decides to call his superior and let him know there might be a problem. In the trees, the team keeps watch all around. Matt notices movement, and Mike goes to check the perimeter. They are surrounded and their location is compromised. He informs the team that they will soon have contact with enemy troops who heavily outnumber them. Marcus takes accurate aim and fires the first shot. The Taliban forces now know their exact location. A shootout ensues. Mike's team manages to reduce the number of enemies, but when they are attacked from multiple sides, they suffer serious injuries. Their radio is destroyed by gunfire. With a machine gun, enemy forces pin down Marcus and Matt, and the whole group looks for a safe way out. Mike reports that it is safe to leave on their right. He then quickly realizes he was wrong when a few members take a bullet to their knee. The enemies even start using rocket launchers. Cornered, the squad jumps off a steep hill. As if the bullet wounds were not enough, they also suffer a series of injuries as they fall down the slope. In the end, everyone manages to regroup, as if a guardian angel is watching over them. Not for long, as Danny is shot in the leg and shoulder. The group runs deeper into the woods, but Danny is at the end of his rope. Mike drags him back to cover. The situation is dire. In shock, Danny can no longer control the volume of his voice and gives up their position. The group jumps down the cliff again, but this time Marcus carries Danny, who gets shot, leaving him at the top of the cliff. Barely standing on the ground, the 3 decide to return for Danny. They find some cover and Matt slowly picks Tollies apart while Mike tells Marcus he's going to the cliff to try to get a signal for comms. Mike gives him his spare ammo and points out that it's a one-way mission. Somehow, through all the gunfire and cover from his teammates, Mike makes it to the cliff and contacts the base to request immediate assistance. When he gets up, he is riddled with bullets and Danny suffers a similar fate. To the distress signal, the forward base sends 2 Chinook helicopters to the group's location, or rather, 2-man location. Unfortunately, they have sent Apache helicopters on another mission and do not have the support for Chinooks, but they still proceed. The reality of everything slowly sets in for the two, and as Matt is heavily injured and believes he is next, he asks Marcus to tell his wife how much he loves her, but as soon as Marcus says he will not die, they get blasted with missiles. When all hope seems to be lost for the two Chinooks arrive and give them the strength to hold on a little longer. In an attempt to send the SEALs into battle, hope does not last long as one of the helicopters is hit by an RPG and explodes on a cliff, killing everyone on board. Not wanting to suffer the same fate, the other Chinook flies off, leaving the badly wounded Marcus and Matt to fend for themselves once again. They are desperate. Not long after, Matt also loses his life. Marcus is shot at with a rocket launcher and lands at the bottom of a crevice where he is able to hide from Taliban fighters. The Apache helicopter arrives quite late, and seeing no enemies on the ground, it takes off shortly after. Marcus passes out and wakes up the next day at sunrise. The adrenaline has worn off and his body is screaming in pain. He makes his way to a pond, jumps in and drinks water to quench his thirst. Marcus is startled by a group of people living in a nearby village. He holds a grenade in his hands and threatens them, but the villager, Gulab, offers him a helping hand. The group takes him to their house in a village, where he is shown his position on a map, and one of the residents is unhappy with the presence of the American soldier, since they can all be executed if they help him. Not understanding anything that is being said, Marcus once again holds the grenade in his hand and says, "If I don't go home, you don't go home." Marcus is still hesitant because he does not know why Gulab is helping him, but with no other choice, he gives Gulab a note to deliver to the base. Gulab sends a mountain man to the nearest American air base to inform the military forces of Marcus' whereabouts. The Taliban forces find Marcus' blood and follow the trail to find out he must be in the village. Gulab tries to talk some sense into the insurgents, but they don't listen. Marcus is taken outside to a tree where he is to be beheaded. Just as the insurgents are about to cut off Marcus' head, Gulab and other villagers intervene and threaten to kill the fighters if they harm Marcus. The Taliban fighters retreat and the villagers bring Marcus back to the house while still arguing about what will happen to them now. Marcus passes out from the pain and Gulab and his son take care of him. The next day, the insurgents are gearing up to storm the village. Marcus wakes up and is given water and food, still confused as to why the villagers are helping him. The wall of the house is blown up and they are attacked. Meanwhile, the forward base has received Marcus' letter and dispatched choppers to the village. The villagers are outnumbered and outgunned and do not stand a chance. Marcus is found and fights the insurgent. Fortunately, the little boy hands him a knife and he wins this round. American forces arrive just in time to mow down Taliban fighters. The perimeter is secured. They find Marcus and take him to the helicopter, but he stops to thank Gulab and his son. He owes them his life. Back at the base, Marcus is taken to the medical tent and he narrates that he died on that mountain with his brothers, but a part of him still lives on. Lone Survivor recounts the true tale of Marcus Luttrell, the lone survivor of Operation Red Wings, an ill-fated mission to take out Taliban leader Ahmad Shah in Afghanistan circa June 2005. Villagers agreed to help Luttrell as part of a traditional code of honor known as the Pashtunwali. The end.